Hi Internet, Orc speaking. Welcome back to the channel, and welcome back to Some More Rebalanced. Today, we're going to be playing a very special vehicle to a lot of people. The original Flame Runner, and how it's changed to adapt in the current meta. Now, I was reading up a few comments on all of the Rebalance videos, and one of the many things that, people were A, excited about, and B, also very, very concerned about, was where the Flame Runner falls inside of the meta. Because, with all these crazy vehicle combinations and whatnot, the Flame Runner does not seem like that great of a vehicle, and I just want to kind of clear up some misconceptions about that, because the Flame Runner is perfectly fine. It just goes to show how busted the Flame Runner initially was compared to all of the other vehicles. However, my initial idea, back when we started developing Rebalance a very long time ago, was to keep the Flame Runner stock. After all, in the last video we were talking about the Warrior Bike, and pushing the limits of what each individual vehicle statistic at what point do they break? At what point do they become meta? And we were comparing all of that to the stock Flame Runner. So the Flame Runner had to stay stock for as long as possible. Now, eventually the game design, or the game the game direction, took a turn to making sure that the game was fun instead of just tuned and balanced. Because at a certain point, we began to realize that tuning the game is not terribly difficult, but if we only make the 3 basic archetypes, A, that would be done very quickly, and B, we're basically gonna make everything the Flame Runner, right? Technically, if you made every vehicle the Flame Runner, that is balanced, and that is tuned, and obviously every inside drifting bike would be, balanced. I don't know how I did not defend that. Interesting. Oh, that's fun. I might actually lose this race. I hate Raceway so much. This is a classic Raceway. If these were human opponents, they would all be taking the shortcut right here and just blasting out. I should only be losing a single position for this, though. Alright. Very nice. I was dropping a lot of inputs last recording session, too. Maybe I need to clean up my triggers. To answer the long-running question that I was seeing in a lot of in the comment section for a lot of Rebalanced videos, is the Flame Runner good? Yes. Is it the best vehicle in the game? No. Is it the worst vehicle in the game? Definitely not. It's comfortably in what we call the A class. The top of the A class. And a lot of people... God, you don't need to do that anymore. A lot of people don't realize what exactly made the Flame Runner good. It's not just the fact that it has good stats or good speed. It's the fact that at this point in the game, Mario Kart Wii has been around for... What is it? 12 years? 13 years? Are we celebrating the 14th anniversary? I don't know. It's something like that. And during that entire time, everyone at a competitive level, at the highest level, who have been pushing the envelope of what this game is capable of, all use the Flame Runner. So for instance, all the strats, all the development, all the tech that's in this game is for the Flame Runner. That's why we have alignments for the Flame Runner. That's why we have tricks and strats and setups for the Flame Runner. The Flame Runner is the gold standard. It's what everyone uses. So when everyone uses this vehicle, you can't really, underplay just how important it is to have experience with the vehicle. So bottom line, what makes the Flame Runner good is not necessarily just the fact that it has, it's a good vehicle, it has good stats, but the sheer fact that we have nearly 11, 12, it's 2020, someone calculate it for me. How long has Mario Kart Wii been around? We have nearly a decade's worth of experience and development for the Flame Runner. And that's near impossible to balance against. So I told this, to Troy, I was like, don't tell anyone. It's my big secret. But what we did was, we intentionally tuned the karts and the outside drifting bikes in this Rebalance mod to be intentionally broken. Intentionally. We deliberately did that. We deliberately made the other vehicles good. And even still, the Flame Runner is nuts. Simply because of the fact that it could do things that no other vehicle can. And we have setups for things that no other vehicle have. That and the Mach Bike. The Mach Bike's a little weak. A little bit weaker because the Mach Bike does not have as many of those setups. It has, limitations even in the stock game. I know there was a big argument in the competitive scene, how viable is Daisy Mach? And every competitive player I've talked to generally agree that the Flame Runner is by far the superior vehicle. Some I'm not going to say who, go as far to say as the mock bike was unviable. So now I want to talk a little bit about more in depth of what made the Flame Runner good. Now, in order to understand that, we first need to understand format. Because I know a lot of you guys who watch these videos aren't necessarily competitive players, and if you are, you fall under more of what we call the bro gamer category. You don't really sweat the game. You play the game and you do play to improve, but you don't play against other competitive players. I could be wrong. I'm curious to see. Like, ran a poll a long time ago. might pop it up on the screen. What you consider yourself as a Mario Kart Wii player, and I believe like the vast majority of who watches my channel are classify themselves as casual players, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Yeah, I feel I have a history of like people claim that I like hate on casuals. I don't. Like, it's important to have a casual audience for any game, and I'm actually slowly becoming more casual than competitive. There was a time when I used to sweat the game, and it wasn't very healthy, because A, it was my first competitive game, and B, Mario Kart Wii is an incredibly toxic community, in the sense that they kind of judge you based off of your player's skill. Which isn't, you know, I guess when you play competitively, it's understandable, but there's no humanity to it. There's no humane side. Everyone just sees you, like you're judged as a person for your rank, which is stupid, which is definitely not how things should be. But, you know, I'm not the one who runs the competitive scene. It is what it is. So anyway, I'm curious where you guys fall inside of that category. What do you guys consider yourself? Because I'm not a casual. I don't think I ever can be a casual. So there's like an in-between. Like I said, I think the general term is the bro gamer. People who are casual in the sense that they don't compete, but are really good at the game and actually enjoy improving at the game. Puggers is another word. So anyway, that kind of deranged me from my initial point, which was the format, the way that the game is played. When you play online, you play FFA any room, which changes the way that you play the game. Like, if you are used to playing worldwide, you're gonna have a great time playing Mogi, which is the one format that I personally was never good at. I am horrid at Mogis, because it doesn't fit my playstyle. I don't like the one-on-one aspect. And the game was actually, the Riibalanced mod was tuned with my tuning in mind. So the actual format that was designed, Riibalanced was designed for, was Wars. So 5-on-5 specifically, 5-on-5, 3 Grand Prix, so a total of 12 races. In Rebalanced, we changed it so that you have an odd number, so you could do best of 7, so you could count individual race points. But it doesn't change the fact that the format, the initial format for the Rebalanced mod, was tuned for 5v5. And a lot of people don't realize, but depending on the format that you're playing, everything changes. It's kind of like the core fabric, it's the fundamental... No, I'm not surviving that. It's, you know, how all rules are considered. So for instance, let me give you an example of why that's important. Let's say that you are playing... Ooh, give me a game. Let's say that we're playing Mario Kart. Why not? And instead of the format being to get first place, the objective is to get second place. That changes the game, doesn't it? Because you still need to make sure that someone else gets first. But how would you do that? So there would be a lot of sandbagging. The game would change entirely if the rule set was not to get not to get first, but to get second. That's why rule set is very important, because it changes the objective of the game, and it changes the way that you think of how to approach that objective. I keep burning out. I don't know why. I keep burning out. So because of this, because the format was initially tuned for a war, the tuning philosophy was different. In a few other videos, I talked about how each vehicle was made under a specific archetype. There's weight class, there's speed class, there is acceleration class, and then there's off-road. That would not be possible if this was an FFA, if it was tuned as an FFA. Because what happens if you play FFA, or free-for-all, is when you pick a vehicle combination, you are shifting the amount of players that are going to be playing that specific combination. So you're basically just making a mad dash, or a mad scramble, to play the vehicle combination that is either A, everyone is picking, or B, no one is picking. Which is different. It changes the way that you formulate it. But however, when you play 5v5, it incentivizes you to build team formation. So certain people, you should have, a few speed class characters. You should have a few weight class characters. You should have maybe one off-road based character, and definitely an acceleration based character. Someone to take hits in the back. And you could build a comp off of that. And that's, like I said earlier, that's how Rebalanced was designed. Those shrooms are death. You do not want to grab those. You're gonna get sent flying. Oh, this one I could grab, though. Alright, slip drift. So that was the initial design. That's how everything was tuned. And what this ended up creating was something called a shadow buff. Also the opposite of that, which is a shadow nerf. I'm going to talk about shadow buffing and shadow nerfing in the next video, so be sure to subscribe and keep up to date on the channel for all of that. Be sure to grab your copy of Mario Kart Rebalanced version 5 today. Be sure to join the Discord server for technical supports and how to install, and have fun. Mario Kart Rebalanced version 5 available now.